Good morning, all. Hope you had a great evening. The humidity got blown out yesterday. The wind was from the north. All that moisture that was promised to us by the hurricane is going well south of us, so Texas is going to get a good soaking from it, but Oklahoma and Kansas will not. We need the moisture. We're pretty dry. We haven't had any moisture to speak of since first part of August, and we really browned up. So it's going to stress the sorghum or maize or milo, what you call it. Definitely the beans, and if corn's not under irrigation, it won't fill out. And give the yields that we traditionally expect on here. So we'd like some rain. The biggest news overnight was Scotland voted to maintain the status quo. And it shouldn't really surprise anybody because that's what human nature is all about. Is keeping things the way it is. We don't like change. In fact, it really even affects your trading if you think about it. You come to a decision, you say the market's going higher and lower, your mind is set, and lo and behold, the market doesn't go the direction that you've called. And then you don't like to take a loss, and you don't like to change your mind or do anything else. So the people of Scotland, as we surmised yesterday, would probably vote to maintain the status quo. A lot of money from the UK in exchange for, well, let me kill this still, and I'll take some, let's see the echo, that's the flash player. Let's see if I can help us out. Kill the picture. It's interesting, the mic settings did not save overnight, so I'll remember to do that. Thanks, Chuck. So anyway, they voted to maintain the status quo. Stock markets around the globe were up with a great deal of strength off of this news, including ours, the E-mini, the Dow, all the other indexes made new highs. So a lot of what's going to happen today is going to depend on if there's follow-through buying in the E-mini, and because it's triple witching hour, a short squeeze is most likely, so I expect strength in our markets, our equity markets today. So we have resistance at 30.5. We have this spill from 124.01, 24.5. We have this high up here at 5.5, so we got pretty good resistance starting at 30.5 all the way up to 5.5. So our first sell is going to be this 29.01 area, and our second sell is going to be 3 to 7. I'm going to pick up this resistance that we have. On the buy side, we broke it out from 24, so we'll little weakness because of the strength in the stock market, so we'll buy 20s to 24s and then 17s to 13s for buy 2. Today's news, LEI up 0.4. No one will pay any attention to it because of the interest rate and utility components. It just does not impact the markets, and it's a pretty good long-term predictor of economic growth, but as far as moving the markets or challenging the price levels, it doesn't do much these days. Okay, another big piece of news out overnight, which is somewhat supportive. The official Japanese economic forecast was downgraded. Now, Japan has been stuck since the early 90s, printing money, not writing off bad debt, supporting capital, their crony capitalism, which really, Japan Inc. is. Our country's that way too. We're no different than anybody else anymore. It's pay to play, and the established organizations can do that. It's just more more obvious to everybody these days. So Japan's economic outlook has been downgraded. That's Keynesian economics in full display. Japan's been doing it since the early 90s, and they've had stagflation in the best of times, and then they've had negative growth in the worst. No growth to negative growth. Okay, looking at the 30-year, the knob spreads coming up a little bit. We picked up about 4/32 since 5 a.m. this morning Central Time. We've got all this volume right here at 9, so a little higher, 7 to 11, sell 1, and then 15 to 19, sell 2. I don't think we can break it out today. I don't think the Scottish vote does anything but preserve the status quo. This breakout came from 25, so we'll play for 21 to 25. May have to move that up to 29, so we'll have to see how it goes on the first rotation. Probably won't know what we have until the E-mini is up and trading, but we can give this one a little bit more room because of the expansion in the knob spread this morning, and would like to sell against this volume right here in the 9 area, if possible. We do have the markets pointing up. Probably our biggest dynamic today past the stock market is going to be end of week short covering. And that's probably biggest consideration we have today is why things don't develop on the short side. You know, a lot of what we do in the room and a lot of our trades are based on human nature. Everybody says that the only constant is change, and that's really not true. That may be in our everyday affairs out there, but based on human nature, it's pretty easy to predict what's coming next, and we basically don't like change. If we could, being fat, dumb, and happy, not having to make tough decisions, would be our choice most of the time. And that's why we have these sayings, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. You know, we're forced to look at things a little bit differently. Not because we want to, it's because we're forced to do it. So, Scotland, I mean, everybody, you know, talks about it. Everybody gets really excited about doing something, and then in the end, they don't do a damn thing. And the reason for that is the way people are wired, in my most humble opinion. Okay, we left last night's market wanting to sell gold, I think 30 plus or minus. We had 28 to 30, and then 33 to 35, and our buy was 20 to 22. Pretty damn good, if I say so myself. So that was our sell zone, and this was our buy zone. We've got a B pattern, so we'll probably head a little bit lower, but once again, I don't think we'll break the market, so we'll make buy 1, 20, plus or minus, and we'll make buy 2, 15 to 17. I don't think this, you know, if you take a look at the long-term implication of Scottish ratification of being tied to, or reaffirmation, I guess, of being part of the United Kingdom, what does that mean? That means that England will continue to print money and continue to borrow to support their social programs. England officially will continue to look the other direction on multiculturalism until it gets a hell of a lot worse. They will pay lip service to getting on top of it, but I mean, there isn't an easy way out of this. You've spent many, many years of creating a class of society that expects to get paid for doing nothing. And when they don't get paid, or when you threaten that, they riot, they break things, they burn things. And then on top of it, in Europe, they've invited in very, very militant, very, very vocal, very violent populations from the Middle East, and they expect to get paid for doing nothing so they can go plot and scheme and figure out how to increase their power and ultimately convert those countries to Sharia law. And it's a dynamic that's going to be very, very difficult to contain or stop or reverse without a catastrophic event, unfortunately. Okay, looking at the euro, like we said, we love these 50 to 75 tick rallies in the day session, so you can sell them when you get to London at night. I mean, it's just an unbelievably good trade for us, and it's consistent. It is so predictable. Now, we don't, short covering rallies are swift, and they're kind of no prisoner things. So in the day session yesterday, we rallied. We closed it strong, and in the overnight session, it stopped right at the two-letter ledge. So we left yesterday wanting to sell 35s to 45s. We said we don't like the long side very much. We did put longs out there, but we do love the short side of the market. And I hope some of you in London were able to take advantage of that. It's a layup. It is a given. And the euro is going down. I mean, what could stop the euro or reverse it and put it into an uptrend? Strong economic growth would be about the only thing I could see, and I don't think that's in the cards. In fact, there's a good chance at the end of the month that Germany might post the second quarter of negative growth, which officially would put it into a mild recession. Okay, our buy on the euro, we weren't too, it was 29.05, and we blew right through that. And then our second buy was 80 to 90, and we blew right through that. So again, I really just don't like the long side in this contract at all, but I have to put buys up. So stops below 50 will be buy one, and then 20 to 30 will be buy two. On the sell side, we're at 63. Last rotate up stopped at 85, then 88 and 90. So we'll make 75, 85, kind of coming right beneath that as sell one, and then 29 plus or minus is sell two. But I hope some of you were able to take the trade in Europe last night. I mean, it's just a wonderful opportunity and so predictable. Okay, crude oil. I saw France made its first airstrikes against ISIS. It's amazing. Don't want to risk your pilots, do it with drones. Don't want to risk political wrath with your populations. Do it with air power. France at least has the Foreign Legion, where if things really, really get ugly, they can always call on them, and they do. And the French Foreign Legion serves a very, very useful purpose for France, and has. And might not be a bad component of our military to adopt at some point. Okay, here we are. There's your value area trading. We've got this gap up here. That'll be a trading target to close the gap for the daily chart players. So basically at 93.75, we haven't gotten there. Down below, we had the buying start the other day in the 91.50. So we've got a seller 93.50 to 94 right now, and we've got a buyer in the 91.50, 92 area, and we're at 92.59. So we'll make 92, 90.25 by 1, 50 to 75 by 2. I don't have a real strong feeling on today's market. I'd like to get the selling then closer to 93 than to 92.75, but and then 93.50, 25 to 50 for sell too. I don't think anything that the coalition, whomever may be a part of that now, it's going to have much of an impact on ISIS. I don't think they want to. I think it's for the United States, it's to get through the November elections, pure and simple. I think for Europe, it's to do something because of the graphic beheadings done to some of their citizens on the TV. Have to do something. And again, you know, it really is. It's like fighting symptoms. It's not going after the disease, and the disease is radical Islam. It just, these guys don't take no for an answer. They never have, and they never will. And if you got to go back in and read the history of between 650 AD and about 1100 to see why. Every time the cultures of the countries get in trouble because they're dismissed, what were called the philosophers or the scientists back in 1100, the priest won it. They say we flourished, and there were boom times during when we conquered everybody. We've got to go back and live that way. And so there's only 10, maybe 15% of the Muslim world that thinks that way, but that 10 to 15% of the Muslim world is the most violent and the most vocal, and they kill to get their way. And you got to pay attention, or you can lose your life in that part of the world. So it's a tough problem. Tough problem, and I unfortunately, I don't think it will be resolved until there is a catastrophic event, and maybe not even then. Most people just want to be left alone. They don't want to be bothered by their governments. They just want to live their lives in their culture and not be bothered by anybody. Okay, 12 to 14.5 is resistance. I think the market's going to trade higher today, but if we can't get through the 12 to 14.5 area, we can get alpha short. Today is triple witching. And I think the conditions are right for a short squeeze. The buy is going to be 5 to 7. I think we're going higher because we are higher and because of the short squeeze today. So want to trade from the long side, but if we fail to get through 12 to 14, we can get short. Okay, take at least 15 minutes to get everything up and posted. I will get busy on that right now. I'll be back in the room as soon as possible. Today's LEI news should have no impact on the trading. The market's focus will be the direction of the E-mini stock markets, and I think all of our stock markets are set for short squeeze today. Later.